Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the recovery addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
Alrighty, good morning. A little bit early, but I wanted to do this because a couple things are happening. First, before everything else, a huge shout out and happy birthday to Weather Watch. Today is the day where we celebrate that he has revolved around the sun yet one more time. He's made one more revolution. He probably looks a little bit older, judging by how the weather has treated him this last few weeks. But Weather Watch, big shout out to you, man. Happy birthday. You're amazing. Thank you so much for spending part of your birthday here today. If you have to leave and go do something fun with your wife, you have some family time, do whatever, we would completely understand. Hope you have a fantastic birthday today. You'll probably have happy birthday messages in chat throughout the day. But I want to show you this right here because the light lady is at work already. The light lady's at work, but we've got so much stuff to talk about. Oh, hang on, I need this there. I need a safety shot. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's working. I think it's working. Can you hear me? Yes, I think so. All right. First in chat today. This warms my soul. Just as an American, I realize we're not all Americans here, but this warms my soul as an American to see the peaceful transfer of power as T-Rock's second in chat today graciously, hey, look who that is, graciously surrenders control of the internet, hands the keys over to Denise Feldman Ersland. Denise, I think you have owned the internet before, so just use the old user's manual because nothing's changed in that one till now. So congratulations on winning the internet. It is all yours. Do with it as you see fit. Just keep it running for the rest of us and we'll be happy. Thank you very much, Denise, for being first in chat. Also here today, we have T-Rox, who did a fantastic job with the internet yesterday. I have to say, T-Rox came prepared and handed out internet awards and everything. It was beautiful. It was beautiful to see. Maureen Smith is here, Golden Mom. Let's see. Ritz, good morning. RA fam, good to have you here. I'm trying to get started earlier so we can do finished roll call before all the excitement happens. They're not supposed to start for another hour in the courtroom, but the feed's going, and I'm not sure. I wanted to see the light lady to see if she did anything else other than carry water and turn the lights on and off. So we're going to keep an eye on that just a little bit. Let's see. Can you take down my internet so I don't have to work? We could probably arrange that, Denise, if you can get on that. Kevin, good to see you here. 6 Volt Bus, Mac, Laura, Kay Hodgson, good to have you here from sunny South Carolina. It's beautiful weather today. I think it's already 54 degrees. We're going to be up to about 60 is all. I thought it was going to be warmer. It was warmer yesterday. It was 73 degrees here in North Carolina. Carly's here from Scotland. Hope you're doing well, Carly. We have to hear your accent sometime. You're going to have to call the burner phone or maybe send a voice file via email. We just love the Scottish accent. Christy P., good to have you here. Thank you for the text, by the way. Also, another Christy, back-to-back Christies. This is always good when you have back-to-back of the same name. Sort of like we have here with Mac and then Mac again. Same Mac. But we've got two different Christies back-to-back. Good to have you both here. Donuts, diet cake, not a coffee drinker. Well, thanks for bringing the treats. Allison's here this morning. Good morning, Allison. Toxic. I think this is first mod in chat was Toxic. So it kept everything under control before I got here, which is great. We're still about a minute early, so people are going to be showing up thinking they're late, but they're not. Or thinking they're on time, but they're late. I guess it's the other way around. Sunshine Sunflowers, good to have you here. Red Pen as well. Bella, Jean. I wish my memory was good enough to remember which names I've already said, because I think some of you get called out like 5 or 6 times and others get skipped because I think, oh, I've already said that name. And I apologize for that. Okay, good morning, Christy, by the way. Good to have you here. Let's see, Katrina, Last Poet, Kayla, Charlie Peterson. I'm waking up again, which is good. The alternative is not as good, Charlie, so I'm glad to have you waking up and waking up with us. Slowly, but at least I can move. Hope you're feeling better. I know you had that the leap from the roof, which was not good. Let me know how the knee goes or what the prospects are. Why is it not moving? Why am I seeing? So I can see this here, and then on my other channel I don't see it. The other channel I just see this. So we'll watch and make sure things are happening as they should. Oh, you know why? One of them was from yesterday. We're watching yesterday's video, which is no bueno. Well, the one we're watching now is current. Okay. I think that's better. No, that's still day 4. I might be on an old video. We might have plenty of time. In that case, we're going to switch to this. Last Poet, good morning, Recovery Addict and crew. Good to have you here. Let's see. Toxic Orchid, Kayla Buckwalter. Sorry, Kayla. Good morning, Sunshine. Elizabeth Norton, Sandy Fields, happy birthday. Yes, we've got happy birthdays to Weather Watch all day long. Every time he talks, somebody has to wish him happy birthday. I think that's only appropriate. And hopefully he can bring us good weather for his birthday as well. Take a moment, go over to Discord and wish Weather Watch happy birthday there. That's a great idea. That'd be a great idea. For all of you on Discord, that would be fantastic. Oh, there's boxes. There's like a box fort that's being assembled in the background. I'm gonna keep this.
There's a lawsuit
up because I think this is current. It says watch live day 4, but day 4 was yesterday. Why is it not current? Well, we'll find it here eventually. This is definitely not live. Day 4 is not live. It says live, but it's not. Okay. Weird. All right. We'll keep an eye on that. They're not supposed to start for an hour. We've got plenty of time to figure it out. T-Rox is here. Handed off the internet beautifully. Time to behave. First mod is here. Thanks, Denise. Yeah, you have to behave because you're running the internet. So on both counts. Ritz, Christy says, there's a Discord. I just joined the Facebook group. That we have both. And I have to do more on Facebook. I'm working on that. But the Discord is actually Toxic Orchid's Discord and Lil Miss. They run that Discord. It's called As the Gavel Drops, and it's fantastic. It has everything true crime related. There is just tons and tons of information out there available. Hang on. There's no live feeds currently, even though it says there's a live one and hundreds of people are watching. It's yesterday's video. You can like fast forward all the way through the day. Golden Gold, good morning. The Discord, if you want the Discord, Christy, all you have to do is hit !Discord in chat, and that link will show up. It only works while I'm here live streaming. So if you join,
there's a lawsuit.
If you join, there will be a lawsuit. If you join before I show up and start live streaming, the commands don't work. North American Girl's here. Good Friday morning. It is Friday, North American Girl. All day, it's Friday, which means tomorrow's the weekend, which is a good and bad thing. The bad thing is we're not planning a stream for tomorrow. The good thing is it's a weekend. No work, right? Pat Hansen, good morning. Good to have you here. The Creative Bee. Maureen Smith. Sunshine Sunflowers, good morning, beautiful friends. Good to have you here. Barbara Williams, good morning to you as well. Bella, I think we got you. Happy 37th birthday, Weather Watch. Is it 37th birthday? Or is it like 37th, 4 years in a row type thing? Weather Watch just giving you a hard time. And I saw Weatherwatch actually shared with me a picture of something his wife got him for his birthday, which is streaming related, and I'm super excited for him. That's going to be awesome. Anyway, Ashley and Nancy, Mac, we have you here already a couple times, which is great. Okay, who am I missing? I'm about a third of the way through chat, so I'm going to scroll and look for people I've missed. Jean, good morning. On a Globe, Richard, happy day. It is happy birthday as well. Nancy, I try not to miss people here, and I know I did. Rhonda, good morning to you, Ron. And we'll get you here as well. I'm marking everybody down as we go. So just let me finish here. MCAT is here and dancing, I might add. It's a dancing Friday. Victoria S., good morning. Sarah, we got Golden Mom and Golden Girl. So both of the Goldens are in the house. Okay, Hodgson. KF7AIK, Bob, good to have you. We'll have to get a weather report on Evanston this morning. I think yesterday was 5 degrees. Okay, Mary Murphy, good morning, Scott, and my YouTube friends. It's good to have you here, Mary. Thank you. Linda Hill, this intro is bop. I made some changes to it, MCAT. I threw the actual dog bite video in, and hopefully that doesn't get me demonetized. It did on the original video when we watched that live stream. YouTube wasn't a big fan of watching someone get bit by a dog, so it's a little bit of blurring on it. It's not quite as detailed. Maybe they're okay with it, maybe not. We'll see. Lane RN is here. Victoria, Samantha Terry. Carly, we got you here already. Happy birthday, Weatherwatch. Have a great day.
There's a lawsuit.
We're hoping that, I'll tell you, I'm nervous. I think that the California Highway Patrol are trying to not give me the information I've requested on that incident, that dog bite incident, that specific dog bite incident, because I still haven't seen anything. And I'm going to give them every possible day, all the way up till the 14 days, even by the most generous count, to respond to my request. But by law, they have to release it, and they have not given me anything, zero, zilch, nada. Checking again, still nothing this morning. Of course, it's still early over there in California today, but I didn't have anything last night. Florida also has not come through on the Sarah Boone letter, so still waiting for that as well. Okay. Nope. Got a lot of emails, but not anything interesting. Okay, I'm all caught up on my emails. So Linda, not a drama llama, is here. Happy birthday to Weatherwatch. I love that everyone's wishing him happy birthday. Let's see. Vicky, good morning from Florida. Good morning, Vicky. I think I've caught most of you. Dallas is here. Sandy Fields, Gordon Blackett. Pickles Not Politics, formerly TW. Lynn Hoke. Rhonda, Sassy Girl. Red Pen. I think I'm looking over the list to see if I've missed anybody. We're scrolling a little faster here. I think we got everybody in chat so far. Trevor Vigil, waving. Good morning. Heidi, happy Friday to you as well. Roxanne comes through with 5 gifted memberships. Let me see who was lucky first thing in this morning. Let's see. We had Carol Connolly, Skunk Bacon, Judging the Carolinas, Greg Erickson, and Aaron C. All gifted memberships. Thanks to Roxanne. Thank you, Roxanne, for your generosity, and congratulations to the wieners. You are the wieners of a new membership, which gives you front row access to this trial on a Friday, which is beautiful. What more could you ask? Angie and Shatcher. Did I say that one right yesterday or today? I'm not sure. Denise says, don't forget to shout out JB in Canada. JB in the frozen north. If your phone has thawed enough in the icy tundra in which you live to call, and you're available, you're welcome to call or text, whatever you want to do, the burner phone. We'll see if we can talk to you sometime. I just hope you're doing great, JB. Thanks for joining us. I know you're up there. Holly Henderson, Last Poet. Cajun Girl, happy Friday from New Orleans. Good to have you here, Cajun Girl. They're doing birthday shots. Birthday shots of coffee all around, says Holly Henderson. Emmy Boo, hello from the UK. Good to have another one from the UK. Good to have you here. The light lady is also in charge of fluids. Yes, I think those are the only two things we've seen her do. She was not the one that was carrying the box. I think there was an attorney that was carrying the box. Linda Denton is here. Miss L. French Fry, good morning to you. Nana Geek. Tabitha, good morning. Shutterbug is here. Yes, I made it on time. You did. I started early, but you made it on time. Kathy's here. Melissa. JK. Crafty Cow. Twisted Branches, good to have you here. Waiting for groceries. So Crafty Cow says, afternoon addicts, waiting for groceries to arrive, so listening with one ear. Well, as long as it's your good ear, that's all that matters. I have one ear that I listen to when I really want to hear things, and one that I use when it's not so important. Just depends which one the tinnitus is louder in, I guess. Shells is here. Brody Brumfield is here, taking the seat. Lindsay Dorset, Missy Pants, good morning. More snow again in Minnesota. You just need more snow. Is that it? You can't get enough. Roxanne gifted 5 memberships. Yes, thank you, Sharon. I was way behind on chat, but I did see that. That is amazing of her. Roxanne is incredible. Thank you so much this morning. Veronica Reyes. We're trying to get through chat
Sarah
here.
Boone letter fund because she writes letters.
Okay, let me get down and see where this is. Rainbow Light. Let's see. I'm still like a ways away from the bottom, trying to catch up. There's so many birthday wishes here. I have to scroll through. Kara Green, did I get you before? Old Dude, good morning to you. Norma, good morning. Thanks for raising your hand and making sure I get you. Pam Jams, good morning. Maggie Carr, it's good to have you here as well. Let's see. Hello Kitty. What a day. I mean, if you're going to have a birthday, why not have it on a Friday, right? That was a great plan, Weather Watch, looking forward at today and planning ahead from all these years ago to being born so many years ago today to make this happen on a Friday. Penny, good to have you here. I think I'm going to try to get through roll call properly. Share Bear is here as well. Tabitha. Okay, if I haven't called you by this point, I need you to raise your hand, put it in chat. Just let me see that. Serial Killer Cachette, I'm here. Yes, I'm awake. No. Casey Jones is present. It was 15 degrees in Evanston. It's a warm-up. That's 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. Mary Murphy, I think we got you. Eileen. Pickles Not Politics, formerly TW, contributes to the Sarah Boone Letter Fund. I'm not sure if it'll speed up the letter any, but I appreciate the donation and can't wait to share that with you. Becky Lou Creations, good morning from Georgia. Good to have you here, Becky. And I think, let's see, Leslie Lynn is here. I'm getting close to the bottom. Crim Paralegal, always good to have some paralegals in the house. You can never have enough good paralegals, let me just say. I think Matthew will vouch for that. Our resident lawyer. They're the paralegals are actually the ones who do all the work. The lawyers get all the credit, but the paralegals do all the work. They're the ones that know everything and do the research and everything, and then the lawyer stands up and takes the credit. Let's see. Michelle Johnson, Good Friday. Good Friday to you. Not like Good Friday, but Good Friday. Light and fluffy flakes falling in Chicago, but a summertime like 32 degrees. It's a balmy 32. Okay, we've got Jiggly's here. Myra, please don't miss me. I won't miss you. I see you there. Michelle Stark, if I missed you, I apologize. Anybody else raising their hands? We've got Michelle Johnson. You are my alarm clock. Hey, at least you get the notification. Some people are not getting that. So, Christy in New Zealand, I believe. She's amazing. Had a rough ride, but she has done us proud. I missed what that was about. But whoever it is, it sounds like they're amazing. Is there anyone else whose hand I missed? Sunny RW raised his hands. Me. Crim Paralegal, you're welcome. Just glad to have you here. We're going to have some fun today. Laura says, late good morning. It's all right. Somehow I have ended up on the pickle side of TikTok, and it's truly amazing, says Izzy. Pickle side of TikTok. That is, hopefully it's just pickles. There's been too much Jensen lately that my mind immediately went to. Okay, did I miss anyone? Cute for real. Good morning. Good to have you here. See you. Pam Jams is here too. Also a paralegal. Paralegal here too. We have a couple paralegals that are fantastic, both on the re-side and just being good people in chat. Okay, Denise. Let's see. What's happening here? Stream health seems to be good on my side. Let's see if I can. Really good. Don't cry, Ashley. Don't cry. Wait for it. Wait for it. Any better? Okay, buffers. This is no bueno. Okay. Is it working? Can you hear me? Anybody having internet issues?
Is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the recovery addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy
They
there.
got the wrong guy. The dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? Is anybody here? Oh my goodness. Should I restart and do a new window? Testing 1, 2. Are we on the air? I'm not seeing anybody. Loud and clear, says Frack. Okay. Let me refresh this because I'm not seeing my own chat. Give me just a minute. Optimum is a misnomer. Optimum is my ISP, and their service is anything but optimum. Okay, we're gonna jump right to this.
More substantial, so you can adjust that, and then you could adjust the zone
Because
so
it started
direction
already
camera
here.
Points,
We're still talking about cameras in the courtroom.
basically put a little fence around an area that you
Sounds
want.
great. Spread the word. I don't know. No one's going to get a notification that we're back.
In this particular case,
because
they had them all adjusted.
because
So
it's
what do you mean by motion detection?
it's
Motion would
YouTube.
be, cars, people, walking through. You
I'm
could
just
see
going
it
to
on the
crop off
camera
all
that
this
the
morning, all the
neighbors
birthday
would
wishes
walk
to
by,
Weather
or a
Watch.
car would drive down the street and it would
and all
trip
that.
the motion sensor and record a
Let's
short
see.
image.
And what's motion sensitivity?
Motion sensitivity, again, that's like, I think of that as in how much movement is needed to trip the camera. You could, again, sometimes people have plants and stuff, and again, you don't want every little leaf that blows to set that thing off, and you're getting notifications on your phone all day, so.
And what is, when you say motion zone, or excuse me, the zone for the camera zones for each camera or camera, what's
Trying to
that?
get a better picture here.
Well,
Just one second.
Again, if, we had a camera in here and I didn't want to capture the
We
back
do.
couple of rows.
We have a
because
camera.
There was, that's not part of my yard or something like that. I could set it up so it would just stop there.
There we go.
And as you're setting it
Okay,
up, you can visually see, a line around where you want to do it. Sometimes,
Denise,
my
just for the
father,
record,
example,
this
he
was
set
not
it
your
at the
fault.
sidewalk. Tried to do the front edge of the sidewalk so that everyone walked by didn't set it off. But if you crossed into his yard or stepped on his porch,
we can leave it. We've got
that
91 people here. I think some people will filter in. I appreciate you guys staying. Frack trying to sit far back in the court.
Doorbell app.
Let's see. Let's get some
Yeah,
audio
we
up.
downloaded his phone. I didn't see the Ring doorbell app on his phone.
Is it easy to remove apps or the Ring doorbell app from a phone?
Yeah, he had a knife.
He had a knife. Is it easy to remove apps from a phone?
Sustained.
Yeah, he had a knife. Did you hear that testimony?
I guess in your
Is
own
that-
opinion, just with your own phone, is it easy to remove apps?
Same objection.
Overruled, you can answer the question.
I can eliminate an app or delete an app in 2 seconds.
I don't use a knife to remove apps from my phone.
And once again, just to be clear, with the camera on the backyard, the only
Oh, he's about to say
clippings that
iPhone. I thought he said
you
knife.
cover were those 2 clippings that showed the defendant.
Correct.
Good catch, Katrina.
And when you look at that area and look at officer's body camera, are you sure that they were in the same area that the defendant was when we saw him on June 14th in the backyard?
Yes, I made a specific point of watching everyone's body camera just to see if someone walked in that exact line that he walked, and you can definitely see an officer walk that path. And I went back there and walked it. Before I'd even seen the camera, I'd walked that whole backyard on my own, and it didn't capture me either.
Investigator Denlinger, have you ever heard of gunshot residue?
I have.
Okay, so
And
they're
in
saying
your
that.
experience, have you dealt with gunshot residue?
And that's what I heard, but it was
Tried.
iPhone.
Well, what is gunshot residue?
Weather Watch.
Basically gunpowder that's expelled from a gun when it's fired.
Weather Watch, it's
usually
your
from the barrel
day to
or,
get gifts, but instead he gives
with
10
the
gifted
export.
subs, memberships.
It just
Karen,
sprays
Jeannie
out of a
Bailey,
gun and it would
Jenny
get on your
Bailey,
clothing or
Bailey,
hands
sorry,
or
Ronald's Models,
whatever.
Ivan,
Did it get
Victor,
on people who
Mountain
are
Mama,
close to a gun and don't
Cachette,
fire it?
Serial Killer,
Yeah, if
Moose
you
Girl,
fired a gun in a car, it could get on everyone.
Melina Munford,
So, if you just have the mere presence
and
of
Angie.
gunshot residue, does
Congratulations on your memberships.
indicate
Courtesy of
who
the birthday
fires the
boy,
gun
Weather
necessary?
Watch.
No, you'd potentially just be proximity, if assuming you knew a gun was actually fired.
He's drinking like crazy. We're gonna need a break like after about 5 minutes.
What
I apologize
happens
for the
if-
about 5 minutes.
what
I apologize
happens
for the
if
delay, you guys, this morning.
a person
ISP
is
was not having
covered
it.
in some type of fluid, like blood, water, oil, anything. What would that do to gunshot residue?
Your Honor, I'm going to object at this point. I think we've gone beyond the area of this witness's expertise.
The objection's overruled. You can answer the question.
Well, like anything, there's got the potential to wash something on your skin off, liquids.
And what if someone washes their hands after shooting a firearm? What could that do with gunshot residue?
Your Honor, I'm going to object, and may I voir dire the witness?
You may.
I love the voir dires.
Good morning, investigator.
Good morning.
How many studies have you conducted on gunshot residue yourself? How many studies are you aware of about gunshot residue?
Oh, I've read probably 3 or 4.
Okay, and do any of these deal with how easy it is to wash gunshot residue off your hands?
Yes.
Which one would that have been?
I didn't print it off and bring it today, so I can't cite the reference.
And so you are able to look at studies.
I am.
Yeah, and to read them and interpret them.
We missed just a couple minutes. This is the same testimony. He's still talking about the cameras
withdraw my objection, Your Honor.
that we talked about last night. The
right.
court just started at
Thank you,
10.
Your Honor.
It's 10:12 right now. So there's very little we missed. I apologize. I was want to go over the
You've
new
already
gag
said
order,
this.
but we'll do that in
People
the
are
break.
next to each other when a gunshot gets fired, like you said, in a car. Can multiple people get gunshot residue on their clothing?
Yes.
Does the Cedar Rapids Police Department test for gunshot residue?
No.
Why not?
In 1996, the state quit accepting gunshot residue test kits. It was widely accepted that they were completely inaccurate. There's too many possibilities for cross-contamination, being in the proximity, false positives. Iowa has a lot of industry that creates false positives, such as agricultural, mechanics, things like that. Lots of the chemicals that you would use in those industries can create false positives. As a general rule, they just quit doing it altogether just because it doesn't provide the information you would hope it provides.
When you are investigating in a homicide, do you try to find existing family members?
Yes.
And why do you do that?
Well, we want to interview them, get background, verify some information about the family, things of that nature.
And in this case, was there any other close
Gosh,
by existing
that's a
family
different
members
stream.
besides
That's
Mr.
a different
Jackson?
stream.
Excuse me, besides the defendant that was left?
No.
And with regard to that, do you have any knowledge of, strike that. When you interviewed the defendant, do you recall how much he said he had in his bank account?
$38.
And
That's not much money.
do you know through your investigation who would get
There's going to be objection there.
Jackson's estate?
Objection, Your Honor.
There it was.
Calls for hearsay.
I knew
Objections
that one was
overruled. You can
coming.
answer the question.
Yeah.
Presumably he would.
So they're
And did these
presenting
events
this as
all
motive
occur
2.
within Lynn County?
Yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross-examination, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Investigator Denlinger, you've heard the expression, never say never, right?
I have.
Would you agree with that?
Would depend on the context.
Sure. And you are a trained police officer, are you not?
Yes.
Trained in interrogation techniques.
Yes.
And you know that when you interrogate somebody, you don't have to tell them the truth, do you?
I don't.
In fact, that's one of your interrogation techniques, is to tell somebody something you know is false.
I broke
I
the
don't
internet.
like to
I have a new modem on the way. It
But
should
you
be
do
here
it,
Monday.
don't you?
I try not to do that.
A new modem
But
to
you
replace the
do it,
week-old one I have
don't you?
already.
I try not to do that.
Have you ever told somebody something that was false in an interrogation technique?
Not as an interrogation technique.
Do you recall your interrogation of Jacqueline Holmes?
I do.
And you told her that Tremaine Williams was still alive, right?
Yes.
When you knew he was dead.
Yes.
So wouldn't that be an example right there of a time when you lied to somebody in an interrogation?
Yes, that would be a good example.
Yeah, and that technique was you wanted her to believe he was alive so that she would be worried about what he might say.
Correct. Thank
So
you.
there's a perfect
Correct.
example, right?
Yes.
So if it suits you in a particular circumstance, you will lie to somebody that you're interviewing.
Well, that's a good example of one. Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
I will.
So your answer would be yes then.
Yes.
Want to change your answer?
And because you're the police, you know, you get to choose where to interview someone, right?
I try to choose where to interview someone. Sometimes the situation dictates where I have to do it.
And you also get to choose when to interview someone.
I would prefer to choose when to interview someone, but again, if I had my choice, you would always come to the Cedar Rapids Police Department, sit in an interview room, have a great camera and microphone, and I wouldn't have anyone interrupting me. So that would be my first choice, and you would do it during my work hours.
Well, you had that choice in this case, didn't you?
No.
Well, you did. You took him to the police department later that day. He was brought to the police department, wasn't he?
Later that day was. It wasn't during my work hours, and it wasn't at the time that I wanted.
Sure, but you could have waited and interviewed him at that time had you chose. Waited until after he was operated on.
In this situation, if I would have waited until after he was operated on to interview him, given the circumstances, I would have fired myself.
Okay, we'll get to that. Thank you. Now, you do understand that trauma can affect memory, right?
I'm not a medical doctor. I've not studied that.
Well, I asked you that in the Jacqueline Holmes case, and you said that it would.
Well, you brought it to my attention that sometimes those things are out of my
So these two have faced off
scope.
before.
You were under oath
Glug, glug, glug.
in State of Iowa versus
More water.
Jacqueline Holmes. You testified on September.
They have a grudge from this other
Day
case.
6 of the trial. It was in September. You remember testifying in that case, right?
I do.
You were sworn to tell the truth,
Yes,
right? And you took that oath seriously, I assume.
absolutely.
And I asked you this question: trauma can affect people's memory, and your answer was sure.
And I felt comfortable answering it then, but since then, you brought it to my attention that there are things outside my scope. And I'm going to go ahead and refer to your objection yesterday about that and tell you that I'm not sure what exactly the effects of trauma are.
You had no hesitation to say that when I questioned you in the Jacqueline Holmes trial, did you?
He's bitter.
Right,
There's
because
gonna be
at that
objection
time
here.
I felt really comfortable answering it, just like I still feel comfortable answering the effects of fentanyl.
This is
But
a
you
voir
objected to that
dire.
also because it's outside of my scope.
Well, you were
So
going to
defense is
testify
asking him
to
during
street fentanyl,
prosecution's
right?
No,
phase.
No. Well, you're not a medical doctor.
exactly.
All right. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We might even get back to the fentanyl thing in a minute. But my point being that my question is, you didn't hesitate in the Jacqueline Holmes case to say that trauma can affect people's memory, did you?
I did not.
And you said that was based on your experience as a trained investigator, didn't you?
Correct.
You said that trauma can affect, I said trauma can affect the way someone wants to interact with another person. You said yes.
I did say yes.
I said trauma can make you compress time into a shorter time period than it was actually, right? And you said potentially, right?
I said potentially, but again, I feel like that's out of the scope of what I'm qualified to answer.
But I asked you specifically, it was based on your training and experience as an investigator.
As an investigator, not as a doctor or a psychiatrist.
But you clearly have experienced people who were in traumatic situations.
Well, my experience as an investigator sometimes allows me to answer things, but sometimes you don't feel my experience as an investigator allows me to answer other things.
You didn't hesitate on this occasion, did you?
I didn't hesitate on that one because you hadn't questioned my experience yet.
I did. I asked you specifically if this was based on your training and experience, and you said it was.
Right, and we had that same discussion yesterday about
This is
fentanyl
so petty.
based on my training and experience, and you said that didn't qualify me to answer that.
Well, I'm sorry if I
So
hurt
now-
your feelings on the fentanyl thing. We'll get back to that
It's
in a
not
minute.
about hurting my feelings. It's about whether or not I'm qualified to answer whether or not someone during dealing with trauma compresses time.
They need to just step
Well,
outside
you had
and settle
no
this.
hesitation in saying that in September of 2022, did you?
No,
No hesitation whatsoever.
none.
I said trauma can impair your ability to remember things accurately, can't it? Your answer was yes. Right?
Right,
That was you as under oath, right?
correct.
And the next thing I said, and you know that as an investigator. And you said, I do. Right?
Correct.
You know that someone in a traumatic situation can experience tunnel vision. Remember when I asked you that?
I do remember when you asked me that.
Your answer was yes. Right?
Right,
In other words, focusing on one small thing and nothing around you. Your answer was yes, right?
right.
In other words, what we're talking about is that trauma can cause people to be confused. You would agree with that, would you not?
Well, I previously would have agreed to that.
In fact,
But you
okay, go
seem
ahead.
to think that some things like that require a medical degree to answer.
Well, you haven't learned anything to the contrary, have you?
No.
All right. So since September 22nd, or whatever date that was, I'm sorry, September of 2022, you haven't learned anything different about trauma and its effects than what you told me on that occasion, have you?
No.
All right. So you still stand by those answers that you said under oath, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
All right. So what you're complaining about is that because I objected to your ability to testify about fentanyl, now you're saying this is beyond the scope of your expertise. That's your argument right now.
No, I don't think this is beyond the
That
scope
was.
of my expertise at all. Just like I think the answer about fentanyl is not beyond the scope of my expertise.
I get that.
You're just choosing what's beyond the scope of my expertise because you don't want to hear the answer.
No, the judge
My
is
goodness.
choosing what's beyond the scope of your expertise. I lodged an objection.
Well, the judge didn't object. You did.
Yeah, I did. And we'll get back to the fentanyl. Don't worry. Okay, we'll get back to the fentanyl.
This is so good.
And one of the reasons, if you recall our discussion, that you know that traumatic events can cause people to be confused is in an analogous situation we discussed about an officer-involved shooting. Remember when we had that?
Objection, Your Honor. These questions are going to go with the officer shooting someone. I like to know what the relevance is because the defendant is claiming his client didn't shoot anybody, so how is there a relevance between an officer shooting somebody and the defendant not shooting somebody?
I can clear it up, Your Honor. I can make it.
The objection's overruled at this point, subject to Mr. Johnson establishing relevance. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. In other words, an officer-involved shooting would be a stressful situation for an officer, wouldn't it?
Now we
I
get to
agree.
see.
There are oftentimes officers have to make decisions about people's lives and death, and sometimes they have to shoot somebody, right?
Yes.
And that's to protect themselves.
Yes.
So they go home at night.
Correct.
And then sometimes when an officer does that, they are traumatized by that situation.
Your Honor, once again, to the relevance of an officer shooting someone compared to someone not shooting someone, there is
It's a relevance objection.
here where someone fires a gun
Might be sustained here.
having to have some type of trauma. Someone who did not fire a gun at anybody. So if the defense is claiming that their client now fired a gun at someone,
We-
then there's relevance.
We're not claiming that, Your Honor. I'll love
The objection's overruled. Go ahead.
Oh.
Thank you. But you would agree, as you've already said, that that can be a stressful, traumatic situation for an officer.
Same cop.
I think it could be.
Yep. And the Cedar Rapids Police Department agrees with you, right?
Yes.
In fact, the Cedar Rapids Police Department has what they call a peer support team, don't they?
Yes.
And in every officer-involved shooting, the peer support team is activated, right?
I believe so.
And part of the peer support team is to give counseling to the officer involved
Yes.
to make sure that they're okay.
Yes.
And one of the policies of the Cedar Rapids Police Department is that an officer is given 72 hours after a traumatic event before he has to make a statement about what happened. That's correct, is it not?
So I know you're referencing a prior conversation that we had in 72 hours. So after that conversation, I examined our policies, and I could find no specific time in there. That doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that I didn't find 72 hours. So if you can cite the exact policy,
We probably
I'm
can.
not disagreeing with you necessarily, but I don't believe that I read that myself.
Understood. I'm referencing peer support from the Cedar Rapids Police Department, page 1 of 4. At the bottom of that, it talks about procedure. Do you want to look at it, or do you want me to just read it to you?
You can read it.
Okay. Arrangements will be made for department personnel debriefing within 72 hours of the incident termination, if so needed. That's where the 72 hours comes from.
Okay. If it's all right with you, could I read it also?
Oh, yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you.
absolutely.
These guys do not like each other. They're not going out for drinks together after this. Clearly, they had a pretty hostile case where they faced each other fairly recently, I guess the end of last year. And so they're continuing their spat from that case.
Thank you.
They're saying all the polite and sure and yes, thank you, but they just want to claw each other's
the
eyes
question
out.
for me, please?
Would you agree that the time period is 72 hours?
I'm sorry, could you rephrase the question before that? I'm sorry. I think there was a question before you read that I didn't quite answer.
Would you agree that okay, I'll ask you a different question.
Thank you.
Would you agree that an officer is given up to 72 hours before he has to make a statement?
Yes, up to 72 hours.
Okay.
Yes,
And that's to allow the officer time to
outside
rest,
scope.
right?
Yes.
To get counseling, right?
Yes.
And to make sure that he's not suffering from any of the effects of trauma that might impair his ability to accurately relate the details of what happened, right?
I'm not 100% sure what their rationale for
I think I
allowing
did
up to 72 hours. I mean, in theory, you
read
could
it out
just come in and
psychic.
give the statement
I
right
just
away. We're allowed
it's not
to
on my
do that.
screen anymore.
You are allowed to do that.
Yes.
But if an officer wants to take that time, he can do it, right?
Yeah, if you don't want to answer it right away, he can take that time.
And that's a specific policy of the Cedar Rapids Police Department.
Yeah, correct.
It recognizes that trauma can affect memory, right?
Correct.
Trauma can affect perception, right?
Yeah, sure.
Trauma can cause confusion.
It could, yes.
Yeah, we're getting way
Now,
off base.
You want to talk about fentanyl, so let's do that.
Here it comes.
You also realize from your experience as a trained investigator that when somebody is medicated, that
Questions about medication based off of Mr. Johnson's own objection yesterday. He's already made it quite clear that he is not qualified to answer questions about the effect of fentanyl.
That objection was
which is a
overruled, though,
medication.
right?
So therefore, he wouldn't be qualified to answer any questions about the effect of any medication.
Your Honor, may I approach or
Come on out.
Okay. This guy is drinking all the water in the courthouse right now. He's like, you guys, knock it off. The judge is shaking his head. This is embarrassing, right? It's petty. But he's also instructing. It looks like looks like prosecution is losing this battle. Saying, hey, you brought it up. You're asking questions about it. So just because he objected before. Yeah, it looks like defense won that one. That's my guess.
All right. Mr. Johnson, why don't you go ahead and proceed with some questioning?
Yep.
in your experience as a police officer, have you had opportunities to observe people who've been anesthetized?
Objection, Your Honor, again. I'm objecting that he's not qualified to answer these questions. We haven't seen anything, so unless the defense is willing to waive.
As to that question, the objection's overruled.
Have you had the opportunity
They said
to see
no further
people,
questions?
maybe not even as an officer, but have you seen people
I
who
thought
have been
this
under
was
anesthesia?
Dyer.
Yes.
And have you seen people that have come out of anesthesia?
Yes.
And you know that anesthesia can cause people to be euphoric at times, right?
Yes.
And confused,
Yes.
not even know where they are,
Yes.
and say really dumb things, right?
Yes.
We get a lot of these YouTube videos of people coming
Hey,
out
hey.
of anesthesia, and sometimes a really nice family member will videotape the whole thing and put it up there, right?
Correct.
And it almost always shows somebody who's happy, right?
Yes.
Sing-songy, right?
I've not actually seen what you're talking about,
Okay.
so
Oh, okay. All right. But saying really dumb stuff. Yeah.
I've experienced that, yes.
All right. So you would recognize in your experience that people who have been anesthetized or under medication like that can experience those emotions, right?
I've experienced people coming out of anesthesia.
Yeah. All right. And you've experienced, and you also know that because of the anesthesia is like a pain medication, that it can cause those other effects on people, right? The ones we've just discussed.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
There's a lawsuit.
Okay, I'm using my phone as a backup streaming device here, trying to keep the connection up because it's so poor. I think we're in a good spot. It seems to be getting a little better, but can't guarantee.
You knew before you went to interview Mr. Jackson on this occasion that he was in the hospital, right?
Yes, on his way to the hospital is what I first knew.
And you got a little bit of a debriefing from Officer Brown right before you went in to question Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
And Officer Brown told you he's not there.
Yes.
And Investigator Lucina agreed. She said, I can see that.
Yes.
And you knew at this time that he'd been given 100 of fentanyl, right?
Not at that time. I didn't know. I had to go back and watch the body camera later to see when that happened.
It was fair to assume, wasn't it, that if he's not there or if he's out of it, that he'd been given some pain medication by the ambulance?
It may be fair to assume, but I hadn't made that assumption.
Well, there was a discussion in front of you in the emergency room that he'd been given fentanyl, wasn't there?
Yeah, I saw that on the camera also, but they weren't talking to me, so I didn't catch that. It was a bunch of conversations going on related to his treatment that I didn't pay that close of attention to.
And,
I thought it was voir dire,
whether
but
you heard it or not, maybe you just don't remember that you heard it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it on the camera, but like I said, they were having lots of conversations in front of me. I didn't catch everything they were saying.
And the male paramedic said vitals have been all stable. I gave him 100 of fentanyl. Remember when he said that?
From the video, I remember that.
Well, you were present. Again, you were present in the room, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And,
sounds good, Myra. Thanks.
So when you went to the hospital, you knew that Mr. Jackson had been shot in the foot, right?
I did, yes.
That he could very well be traumatized.
Yes.
He could be in shock.
Yes.
And he was under medication, right?
Well, again, I think we just covered that, but...
All right, fine. And you chose to go interview him at that time.
Yes.
Knowing the effects that trauma can have on someone, right?
Yes.
Knowing the effects of what medication can have on someone.
Yes.
And not only did you go there to talk to him, when you go to the ER, you see doctors and nurses are attending to this young man, right?
Correct.
You know that he's 20 years old.
Correct.
He's openly bleeding.
Correct.
From a gunshot wound, right?
Correct.
You set up your camera in the emergency room.
Correct.
This is so you can film it, right?
Yes.
Because you know, if this case goes to trial, this will be played before the jury, won't it?
Correct, and also so we could, capture things.
Sure, sure.
I didn't have a recorder with me, so this would be a good way to capture all the things that are said in the interview. You can only write so fast, and sometimes that distracts you from your questions, so it's a good way to record it so I could remember later.
But you also know that this video will be played before the jury.
Conceivably, yes, absolutely.
If it goes to trial.
Right, that's the point of the body camera.
Yeah. And so you set this camera up, right?
Yes, we set it up in the
Didn't
room.
tell Mr. Jackson that he was being videotaped.
No, but we set it right in front of him.
While he was bleeding, right? In the emergency room. You would agree with that, right?
Yes.
In his hospital gown, right?
Yes.
Laying on a gurney, right?
Laying on a gurney, yes.
While he was medicated.
Yes.
And very possibly in shock.
Yes.
After being told by a fellow officer that he wasn't there, right? Meaning he wasn't all there mentally.
Yes.
And having Investigator Lucina say, I can see that, right?
Yes.
That's when you decided you were going to make this video.
The second he got off the ambulance, we decided we were going to continue to make the video that started at his house.
So a video that you knew would reflect the defendant's attitude and demeanor.
Yeah, I wanted to capture things so you could see it for yourself, and I could remember everything later. In my office, I could put my headphones on and try to hear, everything that was being said.
But it would also reflect your attitude and demeanor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the attitude and demeanor of Investigator Lucina.
Definitely.
And you knew that would be played before the jury as well.
It's always played.
right?
Yeah, all of our videos are always played.
That always played.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did we start videotaping interviews of defendants? Do you remember?
I don't know the date on that.
It didn't used to always be the case, did it?
No, we didn't always have a good setup for that or good technology for that.
Used to have to just rely on the officer's version of what the defendant said, right?
Yes.
So then along came videos, right?
Right.
And now we didn't have to rely on just what the officer said.
Exactly.
But police officers also realized that they could put their attitudes and their demeanor on the camera as well.
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled, you can answer.
Well, I'm aware that everything I do and say is going to be on camera.
And be viewed by potentially by a jury, right?
Definitely.
So you could use that opportunity to try to influence the jury, couldn't you?
I mean, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get as much information as I can out of the person that I'm interviewing. And my behavior and things are meant to influence that person.
That's not what you're trying to do, is influence the jury.
I'm trying to influence the person I'm speaking to.
Yeah, I understand that. I get that. But you're also trying to influence the jury, aren't you, on those videos?
I'm actually not trying to do that at all. Okay. We got to get a long ways down the road before I can influence you guys. I really just want to focus on him. I'm in that moment. I got to get that information.
So you go in with Alex in the emergency room, right?
Yes.
Didn't have to interview him then.
You said that before, but I mean, if you think about it, if I don't interview him there, the one person that witnessed this happen, the one person that could provide information, and I wait 72 hours because the gunman who murdered 3 people and shot him is wandering out in the neighborhood, he dies in the emergency room, and now we got no information. Like I said before, I'd fire myself if I did something.
He dies in the emergency room. They're going to jump on that.
You could get a description from him and leave, right?
You know, for all the same reasons I just mentioned, why would you stop at a description?
Maybe because he's
based on your
traumatized.
rationale, the description wouldn't even be valid.
Maybe because he's traumatized. And that could affect his memory. Did you consider that?
Yeah, absolutely consider it. You can listen to it for yourself.
Yes. And did you consider that the medication may also be affecting him?
Absolutely. I don't use the medication you're on when I determine whether or not I'm going to interview you. I take it so we have that information later and we can use it. And you can kind of compare it with the actual interview itself. Is he following? Is he tracking? Is he answering appropriately to my questions?
We're having troubles again.
Is he saying nonsensical things? Is he singing to himself? Is he laughing? Is he doing the things you described?
Is he crying? Is he showing the appropriate amount of sadness over the death of his family members? That's another thing, right? Right?
Those are things that I take into account when I'm determining what I feel about the situation, yes.
And the fact that he's medicated with something that could cause euphoria might actually affect his ability to cry at that particular moment.
Sure, of course.
Sure. But that isn't going to stop you from trying to make the point, or the prosecution, that he didn't cry enough, is it?
You can decide for yourself if you thought he cried enough.
I had Officer Brown sitting in that same seat and asked him at one point in this interview whether the defendant was crying, and he said, a little, not very much, very short period of time. Right? That's one thing you guys like to point out, is if somebody you think is behaving inappropriately to the circumstances that other people would behave in.
Objection to argumentative.
Overruled, you can answer.
I've not pointed any of that out until you brought it up.
No, I'm saying that's one of the problems with interviewing somebody who's not under medication, who's suffered a traumatic event, to go and interview them right away. That's one of the problems with it.
Well, there's a lot of problems with trying to interview someone in an emergency room. Like I said before, it's not ideal. I would prefer that you had nothing in your system and that you were sitting in the police department and it was quiet and, you know, but situations dictate that I don't really have a choice.
But you did have a choice. I'm not saying, nobody's saying you have to wait 72 hours, but you could at least wait till his foot stopped bleeding, till they fixed his foot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, technically I had a choice, but it doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like you really have to do it. I mean, the choice is his to whether or not he wants to talk to me, and I told him that.
Yeah, and he said he would talk to you.
Right.
He wanted to talk to you, right?
Correct.
But that doesn't mean that he's still not suffering from the effects of shock, right?
Correct.
Or the medication that he's under, right?
Yes.
In terms of his attitude and his demeanor, right?
Correct.
You read him his rights when you got there, right?
I did.
And he said, and so he could have asked for a lawyer at that time.
Yeah, he could have just said, hey, can we wait 72 hours? I don't want to talk right now.
He didn't say that, did he?
Nope.
You've had plenty of people ask for an attorney, though, haven't you?
I have.
But Alex, not only did he not want a lawyer, he was happy to see you.
Right.
When you said, we're from the police department, Alex said, good. He told you he wanted the guy caught, right?
Yes.
He answered your questions
Yes.
politely.
Yes.
And to him, you're an authority figure, right?
You're asking me if he thought I was...
Yeah, you would be an authority figure to him, wouldn't
Hey
you?
guys, I'm not sure if we can stream today.
He
Even
may
with
have
my
thought
cell
that. I
phone,
don't
it's
know what he
not
thought.
it's not
thought
keeping
you
the
were there
data
to help him.
as high as we need.
That's what he said, right?
I hope he thought that.
Yeah. But that's not why you were there.
Of course that's why I was there.
So instead of just getting a description of the person, you grilled him for 5 hours at the hospital.
No.
Okay,
You were there for 5 hours.
guys, we're gonna have to watch this on
we
our
started
own.
the interview approximately
I'll leave a
9:15,
chat window open.
And the interview was
but
over at approximately
I don't
1:15.
have enough bandwidth here with this crappy internet connection,
4
this
hours.
modem, to
Okay.
keep the stream going. And you guys
Grill
deserve
for
a better
4
view
hours?
than
I see
what
what you
this
did
is
there.
giving you.
And but one of you on each side of his gurney, most of the time, right?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
You were on one side of his gurney. Investigator Lucina was on the other side of his gurney.
Yes.
And you were firing off questions at him,
Yes. We were asking him questions.
back and forth. Right?
Yes.
While he was laying there, right?
Yes.
In his hospital robe.
Yes.
You even asked the nurse to hold off on the pain meds for 15 minutes, right?
Yes.
Because you know what effect the medication can have on somebody's ability to accurately relate information to you, right?
I was worried it might cause him to fall asleep or something.
But weren't you worried that he might experience more pain if he didn't get his pain medication?
Well, we asked if he was okay waiting.
He was okay. He said, I can answer questions, right?
Right.
It was the nurse that wanted to give him the pain medication.
Well, in any situation, the nurse comes in at scheduled intervals to try to give you that stuff, but ultimately the patient needs to be in control of whether or not you're taking it.
So this grilling that you gave him in this emergency room while he was bleeding, you don't see any problem with that?
No.
Do you think that any parent would allow you to do that to their child?
Objection to speculation.
Sustained.
Okay,
That
guys.
nurse was back in 14 minutes, wasn't she?
My cache is up to 75%,
idea what
which
the
means
time
you're
frame-
hearing this about 15
Because
to
you asked
30
her to wait
seconds
15
after I'm
minutes.
saying it,
Right?
maybe even longer.
But you spent another 4
It's
hours
getting
with him.
worse. It's just climbing. It's just a matter of time.
So that
It's
amount of
now
time
gone
didn't really
red.
matter,
It's
did it?
above 80.
No,
We're going to have to watch
you
this
know,
on our
his-
own. I'm
he
going to
didn't
leave a
change
chat
the whole
window
time he
open.
was there. It was the same thing, you know. He
But
wasn't falling
you'll have to watch a
asleep,
live
he wasn't
stream
nodding off,
on another
he was
channel,
still
so you
able
have to have
answer
2 browsers
questions.
open or something.
And because you know that this is going to be
I do
played in front of
apologize.
the jury
Hopefully this will be
during the
fixed
course
tomorrow.
of this
The modem is just not
interview,
playing nicely today.
you humiliate him, don't you?
Thank you guys. Happy birthday, Weather Watch. If you
Anything
can
I
still
said
hear
to
me.
him or my demeanor or my questions were all meant
if everything gets fixed, I might try to come back a little later
Those
in
are
the day.
interrogation
But I'll
techniques.
try bouncing everything again
Some
and see
of
if
what
we
I
can
do is
clean
an
it up.
interrogation
You
technique.
guys are amazing.
Of
Have a
course.
great weekend. Please
You
hug
made
people
fun
you
of him.
love. Smile at someone, make
Right?
their day better, and please stay safe till we're able to live stream
Explain
again.
how I made fun of him.
We'll see you guys later.
Who's going to
Good
pay
one.
for your Chick-fil-A? Remember saying that to him?
Yeah, that's not me making fun of him. Chick-fil-A habit, sadly, is the problem I have to pay for every day. I have a teenage daughter that routinely goes to Chick-fil-A, so my example for someone that doesn't have any money in their bank account just fell back on my own experience.
That wasn't you commenting on the defendant being overweight
Not at all.
or being lazy,
Not at all.
because you called him that too, right?
I don't recall.
All right. And you, when he mentioned that his dad had a foot problem, you said, well, now you both have foot problems. Remember saying that?
Yeah,
That's kind of a snide remark, wasn't it?
Well, I was pointing out that she'd been shot in the foot.
Okay, guys. It's going up and down. Sorry, right now is a good moment. Let's see.
All right, Mr. Johnson, go ahead and ask another question.
Thank you. Maybe you don't know what the jury will instruct. But the jury will have seen your reactions and your questions just the same, right?
Yes.
They'll see that video.
Yes.
And when you told us that you try not to lie to people when you're questioning them, there were a number of things that you said to Alex that weren't true, right?
Yes.
You said to Alex, you told the 911 operator your mom and sister were dead.
I did.
He never said that, did he?
He didn't. At that time, I had not listened to the 911 call. I was kind of going off of what other people had said, you know, talking to the boss or whatever. He said, well, he called 911. And so I was going off of memory from a secondhand conversation about the 911 call. I wasn't trying to be deceitful in that.
You weren't trying to be deceitful, but apparently
staying until the stream dies.
Check your facts before you ask him that question.
It is on right now. It's just going
no
up and
way I
down.
can listen to the
You guys
911
deserve a
call
better feed than this.
in the short
I'm
amount of
sorry.
time it took me to get
The
up
water
there and
light
start
lady
that
is falling
interview.
asleep in the background.
So
I'm going to keep
then
working
why
on it here in
say
the
that at
background.
all?
Do some
Because
testing.
someone told me that had been said.
But
And Alex's response to that was, I did? Right?
Yes.
He was surprised.
Richard, where's that
you
stream?
said that he said
Where's
that.
that through? Is that
Yes.
through YouTube?
Because what he told you was he didn't see his mother that morning, right?
Right.
And he told you he didn't see his sister that morning, except from the doorway while she was in her bed.
Right.
He didn't know, he told you he didn't know what their condition was, right?
Correct.
So to be consistent with that, he wouldn't have told the 911 operator that his mom and his sister were dead, right?
Well, he certainly could have told the 911 operator that and then told me something different. That's not uncommon.
But I'm saying, in fact, you know he didn't say that to the 911 operator, did he?
I know what the 911 call shows now, but that's not the information I had when we were conducting the interview. That's not me in any way trying to, you know, cut corners or I'm just trying to go off of what I had.
You told him that the security system had been ripped out of the wall.
Correct.
It hadn't been, had it?
Well, the alarm was not mounted on the wall properly, and it looked like it was no longer being used. I later found out that it had probably been that way for a long time.
Well, that's what Alex told you, right?
Yes.
Trying to get this feed working here.
When it shouldn't have.
Yeah, and I think that's probably accurate.
And then you told him that the cameras had been unplugged,
Right.
but they weren't.
That's correct. I was also told that on the phone by people at the scene that they thought the cameras had been unplugged.
Yeah. So when Alex got to the police station, your big news was what Alex had told you all along, which is that the cameras were working.
Right.
Adam,
So
send me
you
that link. I'd
changed
love
your
to see
story
it.
there, didn't you?
I got updated information that was a mistake.
Haven't seen her yet. It's working
And
right
despite
now.
all of this questioning, all of your interrogation tactics that you used all of your insulting, Alex never lost his composure, did he?
That's a difficult answer to.
Okay. He didn't call you, he didn't say any names to you, did he?
No.
Didn't make fun of you,
No.
didn't lose his temper.
I don't know what his baseline temper is, but there was a couple times he was a little upset, but not too bad.
Well, he got upset with you continually saying that he was the guy who killed his parents, right?
Probably.
Well, I mean, it's on the video, right?
Well, I mean, that's probably what he was upset about. I did say that.
And even when you weren't respectful to him,
drink the whole jug.
He was respectful to you, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was respectful.
You were trying to get that rise out of him, weren't you? That was an interrogation technique. You're trying to get him mad, show you some of that homicidal rage that would have caused him to slaughter his family. That's what you were trying to do, weren't you?
No.
And in the midst of Alex being respectful and asserting that he did not do this, he asked if you would do more investigation, didn't he?
Yes.
He asked if you had looked at the neighbors' cameras, right?
Yes.
He asked if you talked to the neighbors, right?
Yes.
He asked if you could do lab testing.
Yes.
He repeatedly said, I know that the guy was there, that the intruder was there.
He did.
Despite all of your protestations to the contrary, he said, I know what I saw.
Yes.
This guy's,
and
he's
on
a
that
fish.
video, at 9:13, the nurse in the
You guys are
room
amazing.
says, how bad are you hurting right now? This is at 9:13 a.m. Alex says, I'm doing better, actually. And the female healthcare worker says, okay, after the pain meds I gave you? And Alex said, yeah. And the female healthcare worker said, what would you rate it, a 0 to 10, 10 being the worst? Alex said, honestly, it's like a 2. Remember when he said that?
Yes.
And that was in front of you.
Yes.
So you knew at 9:13 in the morning that he'd been given pain medication.
Yes.
Alex said that at 9:14 there was a man. There was a man above my dad. You remember when he said that?
I do.
I think he hurt my dad. Right? That's what he said.
He said that.
And the female or the nurse, or she's a healthcare worker anyway, so you try to take the gun from the guy, and Alex said, yeah. Remember when he said that?
Could you start that question again, please?
Sure. So then the female healthcare worker said, so you tried to take the gun from the guy, and Alex said, yeah.
Correct. The nurse was asking him questions at that time, too.
And at 9:16 and 54, Investigator Lucina says, my name is Sarah, and I'm an investigator with the police department. And this is my partner, Matt. He's an investigator, too, at the police department. And Alex said, oh, good, right?
Yes.
And then, shortly after that, 9:17:30 mark, the doctor says, we're going to get you something for pain, okay? And
Internet's
Alex
up and
said,
down.
okay. And then, do you remember that part?
Yes.
And then at this time, Investigator Bosenberg is taking photos, right?
Correct.
And Alex says to him, do you like feet? And he says, what's that? And Alex says, do you like feet? And Investigator Bosenberg goes, oh no, I like to take photos. Words to that effect, right?
Correct.
At 9:19 and 58 seconds, when you asked about the cameras, Alex said, there's like a camera in front. And he goes, oh, there's one by the garage too, right?
Correct.
In fact, throughout this entire interrogation of Mr. Jackson, it became pretty clear that he didn't even know there was a camera in the backyard, didn't it?
Correct.
This is literally what's happening, Kayla.
At 9:25, you say, hey, Alex, this
I'm
is kind of
hesitant to
confusing
talk
for
in
us.
case it makes the internet go
All
down.
these circumstances, and we would like to chat with you some more about what happened. and try to help you figure it out. And that's when you gave him his Miranda warning, right?
Correct.
And Alex, when you asked him he could answer questions or not, he said, sure. And then, is that right?
Yes.
And then you said, all right, with those in mind, would it be all right if we chatted with you? And he said, yeah. Right?
Right.
And at 9:25:50, you say to him, hopefully the staff will be back to get going on your foot here shortly because I know you're in some pain. Right?
Right.
But it wasn't very long after that. See, that was at 9:25. Four minutes later, the female nurse comes in. She goes, can I give him pain meds? And Sarah Lacina says, is your foot real bad? Do you think you can hold off on pain meds for maybe 15 minutes for us to talk to you? And Alex says, I can talk. Right?
Correct. So at that point, we didn't realize he had necessarily had anything. I wasn't aware of it. He seemed coherent, was able to talk to us, no problem. Thought we'd like to continue this for a little bit. He wasn't acting like he's in pain. When I said you're in pain, I was making small talk, trying to be polite, which occasionally I do. But we just thought, if we could get 15 more minutes of him being clear like this, let's get as much information as we can to help the investigators on scene go find this guy.
But 4 minutes after you said, hopefully they'll get you some pain medication, 4 minutes later you were asking them to hold off on the pain medication.
Yeah, again, I really didn't know how much pain he was in. He wasn't really acting like he was in pain. Again, that was me just being polite, making small talk. And when we asked if we could wait 15 minutes, we didn't just tell her to go away and come back in 15 minutes. I mean, we asked his opinion on it. We're not going to let you just sit there and suffer if, so that's what that is.
Alex told you at 9:35 when the investigator Lucina said, was everyone getting along real good last night? Alex said, yeah, we have family time every night, right?
Right.
And that was sort of in the middle of when Alex was explaining what had occurred. He was talking about the person who attacked him. And he said that he had seen him messing with his gun, and he killed my dad, I think. Sarah Lacina said, he killed your dad? Yeah, you remember that?
Yes.
And she said, why do you think that? He said, I don't know. Sarah Lacina said, was your dad saying anything to him? And Alex said, he was on the floor and I ran at him, right?
Right.
Sarah Lacina said, your dad was?
I've tried to limp along and it's getting worse.
And Alex said, my dad was on the floor.
I'm officially saying
said,
abandoned ship.
The guy with the gun?
Abandoned ship.
And Alex said, yeah. You remember that conversation?
I do.
It's getting worse.
And you said, what room were you guys in?
Try watching it on that.
Downstairs at the bottom.
Let's see.
And you said it was like a big family room, right?
Right.
That's what you said.
Where's a good place to watch it?
Right.
And it was Sarah Lacina who then changed the topic from what occurred that night to,
go to KCT,
whether the family was getting along.
GTV9 and YouTube.
Right.
That's the stream
It
we're
wasn't
watching
Alex
right now.
that did that. He was
It has
just
good
answering
audio.
questions.
Shouldn't need too much bumping up
right?
on my side.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take your word for it. It's a little.
I am going to stop the
4
stream
hours
here.
of talking.
I realize
I
it's
understand.
going up and down, but I'm
I don't expect
watching
you
the
to have
data
the whole
on the
thing
back
memorized.
end, and it's
You let
not
me
looking
know if
good.
you
It's just
don't-
minutes
if I ask
before
you
we
something and you
sync.
don't recall it.
Everyone,
Sure, as long as you're
grab a life
referencing,
jacket.
the video like you are,
It's
it should
getting
be fine.
bad.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Weather Watch.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So if everything gets fixed,
then
maybe during
around
lunch or
the
after lunch, we'll try to
9:35,
talk about the
32
new gag order out of the BK case.
Investigator Bosenberg comes
I'm going
in
to follow
and
this
swabs
along and maybe
Alex's
follow in
hands,
chat as
right?
well. I'll keep the
Right.
window open. So if
And
you guys want to
say
stay
maybe
here, that's
the bad
fine. But I'm
guy's
going to turn off
DNA
the
is on there.
video
Who knows?
just because
Right?
it's
You
painful.
said that.
I did.
Of course, now it goes excellent again.
Alex
Okay,
described
let me
that
put a
the
link
guy's
in chat
voice
for
was
you. Just
deep,
1 second.
and that he said, fuck you, right?
Ooh, it just got
Correct.
spicy.
And that they struggled over the gun, and Alex got shot in the foot.
Correct.
Sarah Lucina asked him at 9:37, had you gone to any other part of the house? And Alex said no. Right?
Correct.
She said, okay, do you know where your mom and sister home? And Alex said, I think so, yeah, should be. Right?
Correct.
That's on the video. Correct?
Correct.
And he said that he had not seen the guy before and didn't recognize his voice, right?
Correct.
You asked at 9:40 about Alex's family and whether they'd be upset about anything and how he felt about his family. Remember that?
Yes,
Alex said, I love my family. Right?
he did.
And
Okay.
you said, do they ever do
we
anything
go.
that upsets you? And Alex says, well,
In
yeah.
the chat right now, I'm
they're
putting
family.
a link to a
Right?
stream.
That's what he
That's
said.
pretty good.
Correct.
It's here on YouTube. It's
You
not
should
law and
tell
crime.
me about that. What did they do that upsets you?
You want to click on that
Well, it's
in
just
chat.
like we have had
that is
certain things, but we're fine. Family is
KCTG
important.
TV9.
Right?
Thank you, Richard, for that link.
Yes, he said that.
He didn't say
I'm
it was
going to
all
leave chat up,
rosy
but I'm going
and-
to stop the video
and
here, so
wonderful,
I have
did
to
he?
open another tab if you want to sort of follow both around.
You didn't use those
do
words.
apologize. I know for some of you that won't work, and I'm sorry
And
about that.
Sarah
It's
Lucina
just,
asked him, do you do a
I
lot
wanna
with your
save
family?
what's
Like
left
I
of
know
the
what you
internet
said, you
for
guys
Weather
watch
Watch
movies or you have family
today.
time for an hour at night.
So, thank
And
you very
Alex said,
much,
yeah.
you guys. You're amazing.
Right?
I'm going to go ahead and
Yes.
stop the stream, even though it's working here. It's just not
We
worth the
talked
headache
about
today.
eating
We'll get
that
it
they try
fixed.
to
We'll be
eat
back on
at
Monday.
every
Have a great
meal.
weekend.
Remember that?
Maybe we'll be
did.
back before then too. We'll
But
see
they're
you.
planning a family trip to Oregon.